Get out of my country. 3 words explode like bullets in the air. If someone screamed them into your face in a bar filled with laughter, what would you do in the next 3 seconds? Welcome to Shadows of Migration, where the shadows are told. A cold night in Olathe, Kansas. Inside Austin's Bar and Grill, amber light spills across wood tables. TVs hum with basketball, the cheers rising and falling like waves. Srinivas Kuchibhotla Srinu to his friends sets down a light beer, eyes glinting behind his glasses, the shoulders of his shirt still carrying a whisper of machine oil from a long day as an aviation engineer. He works at Garmin, one of the beating tech hearts of this region. The road from Hyderabad to Kansas is as long as a dream graduate school in El Paso. Nights cramming in a bare room. Long drives past endless cornfields. Then suddenly standing inside an America that felt open. Fair, with room for anyone willing to work. At home, his wife, Sunayana Dumala, still calls out, "Srinu, come home early." Her voice as warm as a stove's glow. They talk about a small house, a garden bed or 2, and a mango tree that exists, for now, only in their imagination. A man staggers up, heavy with alcohol and cigarettes. He looks at Srinu and his friend, Alok Madasani, through a fog of prejudice. The words spit out. "Who are you? Are you even legal?" A bartender steps in. Nearby patrons avert their eyes. The trouble is nudged out the door. A small silence settles. Srinu turns his glass, offers a soft smile to calm his friend. Let it go. But the story doesn't stop at the threshold. The door bursts open again. The same figure returns. A hand hidden behind his back. "Get out of my country." 3 words freeze every other sound. The muzzle flashes. The crack splits the night. Srinu jerks, lips moving as if to say something, maybe his wife's name, then folds to the floor. Alok collapses, blood seeping into his shirt, while a young American from the next table, Ian Grillo, rockets to his feet on pure instinct, lunging to stop the shooter, counting the shots as if it were a game until it isn't. Everything shatters into screams. The clatter of chairs. A frantic call to 911. Shots fired. Shots fired. The twist of that night isn't in the bar. It's 82 miles away in a small joint in Clinton, Missouri, where the gunman slumps over a drink and mutters that he shot 2 Middle Eastern men. When police arrive, he doesn't resist. Back in Olathe, ambulances carve through intersections, sirens dragging blue razor lines across the dark. In the white light of the hospital, time expands and collapses. Outside the ER doors, Sunayana's phone jitters with call after call. When the doors swing open, her eyes meet a cold truth. Not every immigrant dies from hunger on a journey. Sometimes they die from 3 empty words: a gun and a drunk night. Days later, in Hyderabad, the funeral pyre breathes orange into the morning. Garlands burn red and violet like bruises on an entire community's heart. If he were here, we would have planted that mango tree. Sunayana stands in a living room that suddenly feels as vast as a hangar, hands trembling over her own immigration papers. On the forms, Her status has turned fragile in an instant. The sponsor, gone. On television, a crawl of headlines argues hate crime. In Kansas, people place candles in a ring. Tape Srinu's photo to a brick wall. In India, newspapers flood with anger. In Indian communities across America, the conversation slides from visa, jobs to safety, belonging. Ian's story, the young man who ran toward the gunfire, slices through the cloud like a shard of light. Olathe calls him a hero. Donations cover hospital bills. Arms wrap him on stages of gratitude. In interviews, he says something disarmingly simple. I just did what anyone should do. An American stood for 2 immigrants he didn't know. Amid the noise of prejudice, there are still hands that find each other. Still hearts that choose courage over indifference. But justice needs more than applause. In federal court, in 2018, the shooter admits he aimed because of the victim's race, color, and national origin. He acknowledges the shot at Ian as he fled. Words that once blew through a bar like poison wind now press down as weight on every line of a judgment. That August, a life sentence without parole slams shut like a steel door. Yet outside that door, another creaks open. Kansas marks the 16th of March as Indian American Appreciation Day. A small attempt to say this wound was not meaningless. So, whose country is it? The loudest voices, the hand gripping a gun, or does it belong to the people who stand? Between the shout and the human being, and say, stay. This is your home, too. Return to Austin's Bar and Grill for a moment. Slow the frame Srinu's hands, lifting his glass, the corner of his mouth rising as Alok tells a story, Ian tipping his head. Counting shots like a habit from watching sports that suddenly becomes muscle memory for saving a life. Tiny details become testimony, a napkin smudged with blue ink, a receipt-stamped basket special, a door hinge that squeals. Each one says tragedy does not choose those who deserve it. It can choose the quietest, kindest person in the room. And if we treat this as a story from 2017 and nothing more, we miss the point. Get out of my country isn't only screamed aloud, it can whisper in a suspicious glance at an airport. In a meeting room's "Where are you really from?" In the click of a lock when a new family moves in next door. Islamophobia can land on any Asian face. A hater can't be bothered to distinguish. It isn't only the barrel that kills, it's the ignorance that loads it. At home, Sunayana opens a cardboard box, a few photos from a fall afternoon. A movie stub. A receipt for seed packets. She remembers a cafeteria lunch Srinu at the calculator, like a pianist at the keys. Looking up to say, got it. Small dreams don't headline the news, but they are severed every time someone shrieks. This isn't your home. She begins to speak out about safety, about the right to belong. In community halls, her voice steadies. In Olathe, Srinu's colleagues stand in a long line at a memorial, laying down a small piece of aircraft metal, something he once designed as a symbol of how high he hoped to fly. Children read his name, their tongues still learning the shape of the syllables. But they understand a man died because 3 words were used as a weapon. This story doesn't end with a sentence. It stretches into our daily choices. When you hear a slur in a bar, what will you do? Walk away, shrug, or rest a gentle hand on the speaker's shoulder and say, no one gets kicked out of their own home because of their skin. When you see a colleague go quiet, afraid to pronounce their own name. You can be the first to say it right. When a new family moves in, you can be the first to knock with a plate of cookies. These small gestures keep my country from becoming anything less than our country. One day, if your child asks, "Why did Mr. Soap Srinudi?" how will you answer fate? Or will you say, because some people forgot that America wasn't built for one face, but for a promise that anyone who arrives works hard, respects the law and other people, has a seat in the bar, in the lab, in the neighborhood, under the same sky. That promise is fragile. It survives only if we guard it. Every day, night deepens over Olathe. The bar closes. Its neon dims, but out along the highway, cutting the fields, the wind carries a different whisper. Stay. This is your home too. Srinu is not here to hear it. But we are, and we must answer. If this story moved you, don't let it pass like yesterday's news. Share this video so more people hear the names Srinivas Kuchibhotla, Alok Madasani, and Ian Grillet. Leave a comment what needs to change, where you live, and if you believe stories from the margins deserve to be told with respect and light. Hit subscribe. This is Shadows of Migration. We'll keep telling them until no one has to hear "Get out of my country" again.